How's it going, everyone? Um, how is it going? Let me zoom in a little bit. Hey, Tina. How you doing? Zach Naj on Twitch. Yeah, I'm not sure how long I'll stream today. Maybe like an hour or so. But we're going to see what we can add on to this existing site that we've been kind of working on. We're kind of distracted from working on this little project, so let's try to figure out where we're at and what we could potentially add on. Now, right now, there is no landing page, so it's kind of like if I show you the landing page, it's literally just this landing page. We could try working on a landing page. Doesn't sound that fun to me, honestly. Kind of rather work on the ability to maybe change the course image. So that might involve like setting up S3, which I might just do S3 local right now because I don't have to go and get my like MFA generator. Thanks for the follow, K Hearts. We got some of this stuff, JavaScript for noobs. Anyway, so let's go to the dashboard, and we have our course dashboard, which I guess is this one, if I remember correctly. Manage courses. That's not the right page. I think it's this one. This is the actual course page, so you see information about the course itself. What we should probably do is add like the image for the course and have a way to like upload it. So the first thing I plan to do is I need to bring in the S3 local. Let's see if this works. You know, I should probably just use Theo's upload thing. I wanted to try that out, but let's just try to get an S3 server running locally. So I do plan to upload all my images directly to S3. So let us go ahead and just install the S3 local server. I'll do a save dev here. Install save dev. Now, luckily, I have other projects that have a lot of the stuff that I need. For example, I think my newsletter manager has, not the newsletter manager, it might be something else. One of my repositories has like a Docker file. It has like a bunch of this stuff already set up for me, which I might actually just use because it'd be so much easier. Probably my icon generator. I'm going to try doing this approach. So I probably shouldn't have even npm installed that. I probably should just make a Docker file here. Put that code in. And I have a Docker compose file. Grab all this, make a new Docker compose. This is the benefit of having a bunch of repositories, because you have like this quick access to a bunch of code snippets that you've already become familiar with. You can just grab and paste them directly into your project and like hit the ground running. So in terms of what I'm trying to do, I just want to be able to host with a bucket so that I can store some images. I do that on my icon generator. So I'm basically just going to grab this existing Docker file and Docker compose YAML. So I can spin up the container, which allows me to upload images. Now let's just look through here, make sure I don't have anything that I need to change. We could probably change the name of this to like online course platform. I'll just prefix it with WDC. Looks good. And the Docker file is pretty basic. It's just a Node 18 Docker file. Has a couple of things on it, like the AWS CLI. I don't know if technically we even need any of this for right now, because if I look at the Docker compose, This is using a pre-existing image build dot. Okay, it does need that. It does need that. Because this is running AWS S3, which is basically a command for creating a bucket. Okay, did that go over everyone's head? Let's go to the server package I just installed, and I'm going to remove it because I do not think I need this local anymore. So npm remove, do that. Okay. So can we Docker compose this thing? Docker compose. I'm going to do a build first. And we might need to rename this. Do we need to rename this anything else? Let's just try it. Docker compose build, I believe, will take that Docker file and just build it. So that Docker compose can use it. I think there's also like a Docker compose up -- build or something command I could have done. While that's installing, let's go back to chat. What's up, Max Programming? How's it going? What's up, Emmanuel Bayou? Chat disconnected and then reconnected. Cool. All right, this is still running, but while this is running, again, let's just go and look at some existing code I have. I believe in my course generator application, I have a TRPC endpoint that you can call. Where is it? I have the generate endpoint. That's for actually like generating icons and storing them in the S3. So we could probably start with this. I'm sure there's like an S3 area that we're doing stuff. S3 put object. So the issue is I think I'm using the old S3 version 2 here, so I might have to just grab in the new stuff, and we'll figure this out. So AWS S3 version 3, Node SDK. Thank you for the follow, Killa A13. Okay, upload to S3. Is there just a simple put object? Thanks for the follow. I don't know who that was. I need to have my Twitch stuff open. What's up, the Kratos14? Welcome to the Twitch stream. All right, let's see if there's a different SDK library here. Here we go. This one will probably be better. So I do need to install this. This is the AWS SDK version 3 for the S3 client, I believe. Forward to multi-part upload command. Just grab this one. So the idea is like we need a an endpoint that can do an upload from the front end to a bucket. So we're gonna have to do some pre-signed URL stuff. You know what? I think I have another project that does this too. Don't remember what it's called though. It actually might be on my own. Is it not here? I don't remember. Last time I touched this code was like 2022. Images. What's this? Upload image. Pre-signed URL. Okay, this we could potentially use this, I think. So let's see if the Docker file is done building. Let's just do a Docker compose up. That should host my local S3 server. Conflict, the container name S3 bucket is already in use by container. Okay. I think I already have this being used on another project. So let me turn it down. I'm going to go ahead Docker compose down and go back to this project, and then I will Docker compose up. Crap. Docker compose up. See if that works. The Kratos asks, what am I building? I'm trying to build a basically a course platform where, like, if I make tutorials or courses, I could just sell them without having to like give 10% to all these other course platforms like Gumroad or Udemy or whatever. But ultimately, it's just something for fun, just so you guys can like learn as I try to mess around building something. So this is running now. It says it's running in port 5000. We should be good. Let's verify this by trying to build out an endpoint to get a pre-signed URL first of all. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this because I do believe I want to go find a. Let me go to my root router. I have an images router here. Go there, and there should be like a pre-signed URL. Create pre-signed URL. Okay. So the idea is like we want to allow only the person who is the admin of the site to come in here and upload images to a course. So let's go to our course router, like so. And we're going to make a new mutation, which I think the syntax of this has changed a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and say like create pre-signed image. I'll just say URL. I'll keep it consistent. And we're going to make this a protected procedure. So you have to be logged in. And as far as the input, let's see if this has any inputs anywhere. It doesn't look like it. So we might not even need that input. Bring some context. Go ahead and do this. Now, what do we need to bring in? We need to, first of all, get the user ID. So that's probably fine to leave that. Image. We probably need to store the course image. So if we go to the Prisma schema, I have a course here, but there's no mapping between like what the image is for the actual like course. So I'll say like image, and potentially that could just be a string, maybe. Actually, I could probably just use the ID of the course, and that could be my unique identifier for the image. Let's keep this simple. Always keep it simple before you just start over-engineering stuff. But let's just go ahead and we need to do something similar like this, but we need to use the new AWS version v3 API. So I'm going to have to basically say const pre-signed post is equal to something. Go here, grab some of this code, put it up here. And we want to create an S3 client. So I'll do this. I don't think we need the abort thing. Let's get rid of that. Region, I'm just going to hard code the USD east one. Parameters, send command. So usually the API hasn't changed much between v2 and v3. It's just a matter of like, you have to call like a send command. So I have to do like s3 client.send, and then I have to pass it a new create pre-signed. Nope, that's not how you do it. thing. I guess they changed that API. AWS S3 SDK pre-signed post command. Okay, I got to install yet another package to get this working. Go to chat real quick. Someone asked, how do I get project ideas? I just kind of build stuff that I think I could potentially use. And that's about it. Max Programming asked, should I get a remote internship or on-site? If you're just starting off, I think on-site's nice because you can actually like get that one-on-one interaction with people. I think remote, unless your team that you're working with is really, I don't want to say strict, but they're really like eager to like jump into Zooms with you constantly and help you out. That's when doing a remote position could be good when you're starting off. Yeah. Me personally, I would like to do remote at all time. Thanks for asking people to like. Appreciate it. My VS Code theme is bearded theme, stained blue. It's an extension. You can go over here and type in bearded theme. It's these two. I got both of these installed. All right. So I was trying to install this package. I think it's done. So I need to just import it. Like so. Create a post policy. Okay, you make some conditions. Blah, blah, blah. Let's do all this. Go down to our mutation. I'm gonna go ahead and just call that code. And I'm going to go back up to conditions. I'll grab this as well. ACL public read. I don't know what that is. Let's get rid of that. The bucket, WDC online course platform. I think that's what I called it in the Docker file. Yeah. This should probably come from an environment variable. So let's just do that real quick. I'm going to go to here. Under server, I'll say bucket name. Make that a string. I'll make it explicit. S3 bucket name. And somewhere down here, S3 bucket name process env S3 bucket name. There we go. So that should give me access to like not hard code this anymore because that's not cool. But I'm unsure. Well, let's see. Import that S3 bucket name. So I have to define this in my .env. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to my intro page real quick. And I'm just going to set this to WDC course online course platform. Cool. So now I can go back to my code. So the conditions basically are like things you add to the command that prevent people from just like adding images to wherever you want. So I need to actually say that you can only upload an image to like, I mean, technically no one else is going to be able to upload this. So I think I'm kind of jumping around, so I apologize for that. But I think we do need the course. So like we're going to have an input here to know what course you're trying to update the image for. We'll say input z.object course ID is z.string. And then here we could say course is equal to await context prisma course dot find unique where, and then we could say course ID is equal to context. Oh, actually, I can say input dot course ID like this. Make sure you bring an input up here. Okay, so that'll give us back the actual course that we're trying to like modify. Technically, this already has the course ID, so I don't know if I even needed to do any of this. But I guess to play it safe, like we want to make sure that the course does exist in the system before we just like allow people to what codes do we have not found? How about that? The course does not exist. How about that? Okay, so all of that. What's up, Rattlesnake? What row? I'm building an online course platform. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. Kind of like Udemy, but not as cool. I'm going to move some of these conditions directly here. So the bucket, again, this comes from that env file that we created. The key for right now, I mean, we could just do the course ID. So I'm going to say course ID. Conditions. I'm going to move all these conditions down. And again, I'm not too sure if these conditions are correct. And then fields. I don't think we need fields. Let's just get rid of that for right now. Fires before the... Yeah, we could just default it. How about that? And what we're specifically doing right now in this file is I'm trying to allow the user to upload images from the UI to an S3 bucket. That's it. Oh, let's just go ahead and pass in the S3 client here. We should get back a URL and a fields. Let's just return URL in fields. In fact, let's just return this. I don't need to like await on it. Just return it. Return this. Should be good. Delete all this other stuff. We need a user ID. Anyway, this is an iterative design, so like there's probably stuff I'm missing here. Well, let's see if this works. I should be able to at least generate a pre-signed URL from the UI. So if I go to pages, courses, and then go to the course page, when this thing loads, the first thing we should probably do is try to display the course image, which we'll have to figure out how to do that as well. Let's try doing that. Where is the course image? So the course image would be, let's make sure we're in the right place. Hello should print out somewhere. The video I made today, I'm just sharing information about an alpha feature. If you don't know what alpha means, it basically means a prototype. In my opinion, that's what alpha means. Beta means like it's getting closer to production, and then stable is like you can use this if you want to. So I'm just sharing a little thing that you have to be cautious with if you're using an alpha feature of Next. That's it. Where do you plan all these features? I just make them up. I'm not even joking. I just make them up. As I go, I keep looking through my UI and I'm like, okay, what am I missing? What do I need to do as a user? And then I'm like, okay, I need to be able to upload an image. I want to be able to have my courses have nice little images. So I need to be able to upload an image. And I kind of just keep doing that when I add features to sites. Server actions is a new thing that they're trying to kind of work on to allow your server-side rendered components to invoke code that runs on the backend without you needing to actually like set up an API endpoint and do all this other stuff. The next server is completely different from that little feature server action, so don't conflate those two things. Yeah, Brom, in terms of authentication and authorization, I haven't really been working on that too much. Ultimately, there should only be one person who can upload courses and images, and that's me, the admin of the course platform. I mean, what I'm building is for me, basically. At some point, if I do decide to extend the functionality to like, you can have multiple course creators on the same platform, I might add that in. But this is like a standalone little thing that I'm building for me so that I can upload different courses and other people can come in and like buy them. So really, I just need like a flag that says is admin so that I can log in as the admin and start managing these courses. And then anyone else who logs in would not have access to that stuff. Are you using tRPC server side, static side generation? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say I'm using client side rendering. Like I don't do any server side rendering on this app. What's the question? What's the shortcut you use for your repo? The shortcut for like in GitHub where you can quickly find files is T. You press T and it takes you basically to the search bar. Yeah, doing some type of virus scan over the image would be kind of good. Or like Zach says, why not have an app on your local machine to manage courses, no auth needed? Yeah, I mean, technically I could just log into the database and like change stuff, right? I don't need the ability for me as the admin to like log in and do stuff. I also don't even need like all this complexity I'm adding. This could be a static site using Astro or something, and I come in and I just modify like the HTML and just add in new courses as I want to. But again, all the videos I make on this channel are for teaching people how to build like applications. So I don't want to do something that's not like beneficial for others to watch, I believe. All right, let's see if we can make like an input box. Well, let's make an image first. And we're going to try to just hard code it to that local host, and we'll fix this in a second. So remember, there's a locally running S3 bucket here. I think I can just do online course platform. And we'll have to put an ID. So whatever the course ID is here, we have it that comes back from a query. So I can say course query.data.id. And we really only want to show this if the course is loaded. So course query.data. If that is loaded, we can display this image. Probably should string interpolate this instead of doing double quotes. There we go. What's this complaining about? Probably need like an alt. Oh, this is just complaining that I'm not using the image component. I don't care at this point. An image of the course. Thanks for the follow, Xtella. What was your name? I don't see it. Oh yeah, no offense taken. I mean, nothing I build on my channel is really serious, right? if I was building serious stuff, I would be adding like integration tests, unit tests, intent tests over everything I do. But I don't, because nothing here is actually that serious. The theme I'm using is called Bearded Theme. Darwin Naro. If your app requires authentication with credentials and provider, how would you handle this? This NextAuth can't manage credentials and providers. Yeah, I'd have to go look that up. I don't know. I never added with NextAuth. I never mess with like email password credentials. I'm sure it's not too hard to add in, but technically, I would rather just use like the Google Auth login if you can. It works fine. I know it stinks to like force people to use Google just to log into your site. So I could see a reason for adding like a magic link login or like email credentials. All right, so the image is failing to load, and that's for good reasons because we haven't actually uploaded an image to for this course, right? So what I'm going to do is somehow do I have an H1 here or something? I think it's called title. Okay, I'm adding a little title here that says course image. And the idea is I want to add a button to the next of it. So I'll just wrap this in a group, wrap this in a group. Okay. Let's close out some of this stuff. So when you click on this thing, what I actually want to do is probably have an input box show up. You know, I don't need a button. I'm like double thinking everything I'm doing. Really what I want to do is just have like an input here. And now that I think about it, I don't need a group. I'm going to add an input. Let's see if there's a file input for main time already. My computer is lagging a little bit. I might unplug my monitor. Okay, are we still good? Can you still see me? Cool. Okay, so I haven't used the magic link yet, to be honest with you all. So yeah, I use ChatGPT to answer questions sometimes. Yeah. Is the app.dir new meta now? Would it make sense to start using it instead of the T3 route? Potentially it would make sense, but I'm not going to. It's okay. I made a video about this. It's okay not to live on the bleeding edge of tech, right? It's cool to just let it mature over time. There's a lot of things that won't work with the app directory. Like a lot of components, you try to use them in your app directory and they'll break because they're not set up to work with the app directory. So that's another reason I just don't want to spend my time like debugging stuff. Like I know I can build an app with the current approach I'm doing, so I'd rather just stick to that. Someone asked, why did I choose to use main time? I wanted a change from Tailwind, and I wanted a component library that basically gives me like all this stuff out of the box. But there's no, I want to say I don't like Tailwind. I still like Tailwind, and sometimes when I'm coding in this project, I do miss Tailwind. I just think that component libraries also have their own benefits, right? Everything is there provided to you out of the box. Nice. Okay, so now we have an image thing we can click. We can get an image. Probably need a submit button. So like maybe I should add a form here that does something. I don't remember how my buttons work in this application. So let's go to like, is there a modal? Do I have a button somewhere? I got a button right here. Go ahead and put that in. It could say update. Doesn't have an href or a component with. It looks like I'm just using a normal form. Maybe that's what I should do here. Why is this complaining? Oh. Man, I don't know if I need to get a new streaming computer. This thing, like, it works good when I first start, but then after about 30, 40 minutes, it starts slowing down. Like, I can tell my VS Code's lagging, my video starts dropping frames on my stream. But whatever, let's just roll with the punches. So let's go back to this code. I do believe I have an example of how I kind of did the multi-part upload here. So if I go to upload image, if I have this function that I bring over from this other project, like this, we can put this at the top of this file. I have to read through it and make sure it's not broken. And then on file change, I'm guessing I have to add that to the file input. And then we also have like a file and a set file. I don't know if I need any of this stuff. I'm just copying over and then I'll delete it if I don't need it. Why is that option? Capture which device? Okay. Trying to figure out how do you like know what the file is here. Value file, controlled input file. On change, get the file. Okay. I think this will work. I just have to go down to where I'm using that file and I just have to add some things. So like here I can say on change and then I'll say like that file. And then also I can do value is equal to file. Use state is not defined. I don't need the ref right now. I'll comment that out. All right, let's see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to select the file here. And if I click upload, or maybe I should change this to upload. This should have called upload image, which I think I need to say type is submit here for that to work. Okay, this thing can potentially be null, so I have to go back to the definition of this. Probably need to make this or null. All right, so when I run this, when I try to click the submit button, it should call this function, and we need to grab that pre-signed URL that we're trying to generate. I don't have that mutation brought in, so like I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll say like create pre-signed URL mutation is equal to API force. Bring all that code in. And then we just want to call it with an async methods here. So I'm going to go ahead and just say await mutate async. We probably need to pass it the course ID because that's what we defined earlier. Now, how do we get the course ID? I do believe that's on here, course ID. We should just be able to pass it like that. And I think I don't need to put this type here because it should already be typed from trpc. Let's see. Yeah, that came back. That was cool. Then we loop over the fields that came back. We create a form data object. We append all that stuff in. This thing, I'm just going to ignore. I'm so tired of all these ESLint errors. I should probably fix them, but I just don't want to spend time doing that. Might be a real error. Let's see. Element implicitly has an any type because expressions of type string can be used. Okay. Will that make it happy? Kind of. All right, so we get the pre-signed URLs, we get the fields, set up a form data object, we append the file here, and then we send it over. Set the file to null. This stuff can go away too. On a file change. Am I using that anywhere? I don't think I need this either. All right, moment of truth. By the way, is my stream super laggy for y'all? Let me know if it is. Yeah, I think Theo mentioned that TRPC like isn't as useful anymore now that there's the server action stuff. Again, I personally would not use it for anything until the server actions gets to a stable release. That's just my opinion, which could be a year from now. Okay, some people like living on the bleeding edge of using beta and alpha libraries. I personally don't like to find myself having to fix and refactor code every couple of weeks because it's changing. The interface is changing because it is an alpha version. But I can see his argument that TRPC was mainly used for like getting that autocomplete from your front end and your back end, but server actions basically give that for you. All right, so let's see what happens. If I were to, when I load this page, I should automatically get a pre-signed URL, which, oh wait, no, I shouldn't get one. I'm trying to do it when I do it. Okay, hold on. I'm confusing myself. Let's just select an image real quick. This one seems fine. Click upload. That should call my create pre-signed URL endpoint, and we should get back some data, which we do. It looks like we get back a URL and some secret stuff that we can use to basically upload that to the bucket. Thanks for the follow. Don't know who that is. I don't have another monitor up, but thank you for the follow. So there is some additional settings I believe you have to do when you set up this Docker file to create a bucket. I think we need to give it a course policy. Debugging S3. How did I do that in the other application? I must not have done that. Thank you for the follow. You know, I'll just plug in my other monitor so I can actually like look at chat while I'm coding, because right now it's just too hard. Okay, so what am I trying to do? I'm trying to figure out, does this thumbnail generator project, did I use a Docker file to spin up a local S3 server, or did I just kind of go directly to S3? I have a feeling I went directly to S3. I'm going to try to make a cores file here. See if they give me an example how to do it. Might be this. Let's see if this works. There should be a way to, like, when I spin up the bucket, I can provide a course policy. Try that one. Try that one. I think I can just do commands like this, I hope. I don't remember. Let's just try running this manually and see what happens. That didn't work. Put bucket cores. This is part of the S3 API. Let me grab this again. Expected equals received that. Okay, is there an example how they do this? I wonder if it needs to be JSON. Maybe that's my issue. Course configuration JSON. Yeah, I should probably do this instead. Let me rename this. Try it again. Bucket already exists when calling put core bucket. The requested bucket already exists. Oh yeah, it's supposed to exist, right? One second. I'm gonna bring in the big guns real quick. Bring in the big guns. Write me an AWS S3 API command to update the cores policy on an existing S3 bucket. S3 API put bucket cores, bucket your bucket name cores configuration file, the cores file. And here, I mean, I'll grab all this. I'm pretty sure the configuration I have should be fine. Put that there, and then here we could run. The only difference was they were just doing the cores file. Why is this not working? Not like it should work even if the bucket exists. I'm not sure why I'm getting this error. Kind of weird. Requested bucket already exists. I guess I could ask ChatGPT again, right? Okay, this whole thing. Isn't that what I have? Put bucket cores. And this is why people avoid Amazon. To do something simple, it's just never straightforward, huh? Let me go back to this server library. Did that not explain how to use cores here? Put bucket cores doesn't exist. You know, it might be because my keys are not set the way this was set up. Let me try this real quick. Okay, if I do it on like a bucket that doesn't exist, it works. Yeah, I wanted to try his upload thingy. I'm not big into grabbing more services just to do like file uploads when I've just spent a couple of hours of wasted time trying to get S3 set up. I think what I could actually do is like, it seems like this creates the bucket. So let's just look at the AWS S3 API help. I'm gonna try this. See if this actually does something. So I'm gonna, instead of like running the first command, I'm gonna run this one and see if this will just generate the bucket with the proper cores for me. No such file or directory. I probably need to copy this over. Okay, why is this not working? I forget how you delete images. I mean, I'll just go to the UI for right now because I've forgotten. I mean, if I was Theo, I'd start my own SaaS product too. Like, doing a Patreon to get donations is not, I don't know, it's just not a way to make money. People don't want to pay money for anything. So if you actually have a SaaS product that delivers real value, great idea. And it's an idea that actually fills a gap in the industry because you see how much time I'm spending trying to get a simple file uploaded to S3 right now. It's not easy, right? And it takes a lot of time and patience to like figure this stuff out. Versus if you can just grab in a couple of React components, drop them into your project, and then you can upload files and view them, you got yourself a nice product, right? Let me go to this and let's just delete this S3 bucket. See what happens if you run this. And I know this is one of those errors when I'm not on stream, like I'll probably figure it out within 5 minutes. But like For some reason, it's just harder to like solve problems on stream. Like my computer's laggier. I have to zoom in so that you guys can see if you're watching on your phone. Typically, I zoom out like to here, which is a little bit too small for a phone view. Online course platform S3. Come on. Hold up. Hold up. Let's delete this one again. Delete the bucket. Docker build. Docker compose. Up. Build. I see it copying over the JSON file, but for some reason when this command runs, it cannot find that cores file for some reason. I wonder if I do need the dot slash here. Let's try this. I'm gonna do an ls. What working directory am I in? Why can't I see any of this information? Unrecognized option bucket. This might not be the proper way to even do like multi-line commands here. Wait, why did it not crash this time? Like, what's going on? All right, let's just try it out. I don't know. Well, first of all, it's doing a request to the wrong API endpoint. You see here, this is the actual like S3 bucket location. That's probably part of the issue. It might have been the issue from the get-go that I just didn't realize. So the pre-signed post is actually returning back the wrong thing. And I think to fix that, you actually need to go to the client here, and I have to say endpoint. See what happens if I do this. It's still hitting the wrong API endpoint. Why was it hitting the wrong endpoint? Oh wow, thank you so much, Marcos Gonzalez, for the $10 super chat. I think that's the highest super chat I've had in this channel, actually. Actually, I think I had one that's like one higher, but thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. Hope my content has helped you learn how to code a little bit, that you continue watching in the future. I'm so like preoccupied with this dang bug that it's like I'm happy that I got a super chat and I appreciate the support, but I'm just pissed off about this code. Why is this still reloading? Does it make sense to learn Next.js and Laravel? I would probably just stick with the one. They both kind of achieve the same thing, so it's like you're learning two different tools that do the exact same thing. I personally would just stick to Next if I were you. Nothing against Laravel. I'm sure Laravel's good as well, but on computer you can do this. What's going on here? Did he even make the request? So I have a question. When I drop frames, does my audio cut out as well, or is it just my video? I'm guessing it's just my video. I need to look into how to improve my streaming stuff. Real bad at the moment. Okay. Yeah, I mean, do you guys have suggestions? Because like I don't know what to do. Because my MacBook Air M1, when I'm just recording a video, it works fine. When I'm streaming though, it just can't seem to handle me coding in VS Code and streaming. Reduce the quality. The Amigo, I mean, reduce the bit rate. I don't know if I can even do that while I'm streaming, can I? Like, do I have to stop the stream and come back and do that? I'm at 2,500 kilobits per second for my video bit rate. I mean, I could try dropping it down to 2,000. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind actually getting like a dedicated desktop computer that has like a decent graphics card and using Windows. I got nothing against Windows. I used to use Windows all the time back when I was younger for like gaming and stuff like that. I just been using Mac for the longest time. I just dropped my kilobits per second to like 2,000 instead of 2,500. Let me know if you get any more, if I get any more drop frames or anything. Reduce the quality to 720. See, I just see the encoding overloaded thing pop up again. Pretty sure dropping the bitrate actually stresses the encoder more. What is this? QM system ARC64? Is that OBS? Why is it taking 15 gigabytes? Okay, the encoder I'm using is software X264. And my video is 1080p. I mean, I might have to drop my 1080p. I can also try not having my face on camera, but I know how much you guys want to see me talk, right? Anyway, it's fine. I'm just going to drop out a couple times, so. Yeah, it might be the Docker as well. But I was getting this issue last stream and I wasn't using Docker. I just think I'm doing too much on my computer and the M1 Air can't handle it. But I do see here that it does try to send the localhost. I do believe there's like a setting I have to do to like make this not try to do localhost here. I also think it's VS Code, to be honest with you all. Like, when I'm playing around, clicking around in Chrome and stuff, but the moment I go to VS Code, like I could feel the FPS like on my computer slow down. If that even makes sense. Like the moment I save a file, I guarantee you I'll see like drop frames pop up or encoder overloaded. Encoding overloaded again, yeah. What is the VS Code theme? It is a bearded theme. Yeah, I mean, I'll get as much RAM as you can if you're trying to do streaming. My PC specs, I have an M1 Air with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So I remember there's something you have to actually add to this S3 client. I don't remember what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad that I'm dropping frames. It's just frustrating that like I'm just coding. I'm literally coding in VS Code and streaming my laptop monitor. How much CPU can that thing actually require, you know? I bet you if I switch over to Vim, like all my issues would go away. Actually, what I'll do before I end this stream is I'll close VS Code. I'll play around with stuff and see if I still get like dropped issues. I'll keep Docker running. Let's see. Anyway, endpoint. I remember there's like a setting you have to use on VS Code. Like tell it to connect to the endpoint, but you have to like tell it not to use a certain protocol. Here, I'll share my stream settings with you all. Maybe you all are smarter than me. Well, I know you guys are smarter than me. You guys can figure this out. I will go to stream. I don't think there's any keys that you can see. So those are my settings. So my streaming is set to 2000. My bit rate is 160. My software is whatever this is. Honestly, I don't know what this stuff is. Maybe I should go from simple to like advanced here. And then my video is set to 1080p. I could try dropping the FPS like 25. Maybe that would help. But out of these things I just showed you, if you guys see anything that stands out as like, whoa, you should not be using that setting for streaming, let me know, because I'm not a stream guru. Yeah, I put my Mac on ice. That'll help it out. I don't think I can go to the advanced tab while I'm actually streaming. So it's hard to like play around with the stream settings because it's like I can't change them midstream, you know. Why am I wasting my time with this? Like, let's go to ChatGPT. This command, this S3 client still seems to connect to AWS. Is there a setting I need to pass to make it work with localhost? Yeah, I think 20 FPS would probably save a lot of CPU. Oh, that's what it is. Force path style. It's always one little command that you have to use to like get this working. Okay, so now it's making a request to localhost 5000. That's good. Still getting CORS issues though. Not sure why we're getting CORS issues. Yeah, I've been working on the UI. I got like a little shell going. I got some tabs, some pages. What's your take on the new Vercel offering? Yeah, I mean, if you want a place that has all of your like database and Redis clusters, AV store, whatever in the same place, I think it's fine. I just do believe that they upcharge on all those services when you can actually just use them directly and pay like half as much. So for me, I mean, I'd probably personally just go straight directly to whatever service that they're using under the hood and just spin up a thing to use it. Unless there's some stuff that I'm not understanding that they actually like provide on top of that. But if they're just like literally acting as like an upseller, then I would probably never use whatever they're trying to upsell to me. And I don't even use Vercel. Like I try to use Amazon for all my stuff anyway, just because I think it will save you money in the long run, personally. For a small side project at least. I've only used Clerk on that one sponsor video. I haven't used it on other side projects. I do think Clerk is pretty cool though. I do like it when I used it. Um, but overall, like again, like my goal is to teach content, and like the more things I tack on, which requires you to pull out a credit card, the harder it is for you to follow along with like what I'm teaching. So I try to go with open source, but if you're trying to build like a legit product and you want to move fast, then yeah, I'd probably reach out to these open source, or not the open source. I'd probably reach out to like some existing providers that can help you move faster in the beginning. Maybe allowed methods needs to be see allowed headers, allowed origins, e tag. Oh, I can test my curl. Let me test my settings. Let's see if this works. Access control allowed origin star. Max age is 3000. Allow credentials is true. Yeah, I mean, this seems like it's set up properly, right? 3000. So why? Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'll figure this out off stream and I'll just commit this. I was trying to do everything I do on this project live, but like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to figure this out live, honestly. So I'm actually going to kill some things. Yeah, I just killed VS Code. Let's see what happens if I still get some dropped things. I mean, I also killed Docker too, so that doesn't really help exemplify what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna drop in like 5 minutes, but if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. If not, I'll probably just head out. What's up, Mar friends? Doing pretty good. My VS Code theme is called Bearded Theme. Yeah, AWS is like you go to like the wholesale market, it's like, you know, it's kind of dingy. It's hard to find what you want, but when you find what you want, it's kind of cheaper. That's what I feel like AWS is. It's like they give you a way to like get the job done, but it's like you gotta kind of work your way through like the cockroaches to find what you want. I don't know if that was a good analogy, but like there's other services out there that just like, such as Vercel, that are just you don't feel stressed using their services. AWS, you load up their dashboard and you already feel like you have anxiety. What would you actually say about putting React before Angular? What are your views on that? Because I have read a lot about both, and both sound very modern. I don't know. I used to work in Angular. I thought it was fine. React's just a different way to achieve the same thing, in my opinion. There might be more packages you can use in React, bigger community with React. Those are like the main winning points. But Angular has like a very consistent way that you do stuff. So if like you're at a big corporation, you have to build a bunch of internal tooling and UIs. It'd probably be good to stick to Angular because like very consistent. With the React, there's like 20 different ways to do state management. There's 20 different ways to do CSS. So if you like have that need to keep everything kind of concise, then using something like Angular is probably a better option in my opinion. Or you just have to be very, very strict about like what packages you're allowed to use in React and like tell your team to like stay consistent. What is your stance on containerized dev environments? I personally like containerized dev environments if you can like spend the time to get it figured out. Sometimes it's a lot harder to set up than it is to say. Like I have 2 other side projects that I work on this laptop where sometimes I'll take a month off and I'll come back and I literally just have to run one command, Docker compose up, and everything I need is there. It's version locked. It just works. I don't have to worry about like trying to remember how do I spin up the database? How do I do this or that, the other? I just do a Docker compose up and the entire project is still working. I can just start developing on it. So I do like containerized environments. It's just sometimes very hard to get it set up correctly so that you have like the correct reloading when you save files, etc. What do you think of SST? So far I like it, but again, I've only used the SST to deploy my next application. SST provides a bunch of other things you can use to basically like develop live with your lambdas and like monitor your stuff. I haven't done any of that. I'm just using the SST CDK constructs to like deploy my next application, which I like a lot. Bro, I want to learn React. Where should I start? You could try reading through the new docs. I think their docs are pretty good. Is there anything to set up Node and Express with TS with a template setting every time? Yeah, I mean, I would just find any existing project that's in TypeScript and just like start from their repo. I think the TypeScript docs actually give you like a drop down that you can select what you're trying to do, and they'll give you an example of TS config you can use. In my project, when I'm creating a user, my initial thinking of logic is to wait for the image to fully upload, then create the user in the database. What image are you waiting on? I guess I'm confused what you mean by that. Wait on the image. Please check the server readme. Let me try that real quick. Yeah, I'm still getting encoding overloaded. Do I have too many tabs open? Could probably be it too. Yeah, so the way I was setting up the server thing, I was doing it via command line. I probably could just set up a script that does this for me. I might actually just refactor to do it this approach. It'd probably be easier. Because the way I was doing it, I don't know if you saw, I was just doing like a command line server setup. But thanks for that, CryoBear. What's up, Manager27? Welcome to the stream. I'm not sure what you mean by this. I would just, you can wait. If the image is something that's like critical for your user to be created, I would wait for it. If not, just do them both in parallel. Yeah, I use Terraform at work. I like Terraform a lot for like spinning up your resources and stuff. But even so, like trying to understand Terraform, configure Terraform, run Terraform, it takes a lot of overhead, right? You don't just learn this stuff in like a day. I mean, some people probably do, but I didn't. What's up, information technology from Myanmar? Okay, let's see, because I've also worked both. How do you deploy Docker Compose setup? I mean, you could just like SSH into a VM and say Docker Compose, I believe. There might be other ways. I'm not too sure though. I don't really I don't do my deployments with Docker. I just do my local development with Docker. Is it fine to use maintime with Tailwind? I would probably not. I mean, I would probably stick to the way maintime expects you to do CSS in JavaScript. I think they use like style components or something under the hood, or emotion. So I'll kind of stick with the way they do it, and I wouldn't pick and choose between both of these. Yeah, happy Sunday, y'all. Cody, thanks for the course. Been cruising through it this weekend. Awesome. Hope you find it useful. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine to just create the user in the database and also create the image. Unless you have like a chicken and egg problem where like the user has to exist before you can upload the image to get the user ID or something. Hey, thank you, Saga Shavan. Shavan, yeah. Love your videos. Happy Sunday coding. Ansible. I've never used Ansible. I've used Puppet before. And I didn't enjoy working with Puppet, to be honest with you all. I haven't tried ShadCN UI. I looked through it. It looked pretty nice. But I decided to just use maintime and Tailwind for right now. But if I do need like some special components when I'm using a Tailwind project, I probably will check out ShadCN. What's the consensus of signals? I don't know. There's just so much noise in this industry. I kind of tune it all out, honestly. Like if you just focus on like learning what you're doing and learning it well and shipping features using the approach you picked, you're going to be in a much better mental headspace than like focusing on all this new stuff that people talk about on Twitter. Like signals, I think they're a good tool when you need them, like to make your code more performant. But I do think there are other like leaky abstractions that could potentially happen when you use signals that you're just going to be in the same boat. Like using a React and state in a React, it has a bunch of leaky abstractions in my opinion. Same thing with signals. There's little gotchas that you're going to run into with signals. So it's just kind of like picking your poison, I guess. If you need performance though, I think signals are the way to like make your apps a little bit more performant. Bro, you didn't answer. What did you ask again? Oh, bro, I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. What should I learn next to start my front-end developer? I want a guide from developer. I mean, if you feel like you're pretty confident in those, I would start learning React a little bit. Like start getting into the React ecosystem and then move your way into Next. That's my answer for that. I was wondering the other day, is there any major disadvantages of T3 Stack with Next? I guess the main disadvantages is that you're not using REST or GraphQL. So if you have like a third-party consumer that needs to like get your data from your APIs, they're going to have a harder time to figure out like the interface. Other than that, I mean, I haven't had any like big issues with the T3 stack where I'm like, I don't want to use this. Like that's the one reason I use the T3 stack on my video on my channel is because like I actually feel like I'm really productive using the T3 stack. And that's why I made the switch, because before I was just doing like single page applications in React, or it's just like messing around with Next and like connecting directly to a database and using REST. But then I switched over to the T3 stack and I legit feel like I'm more performant. Like more, what's the word? Forgot the word. Not performant. You guys know what I'm talking about though. More efficient? It's nice to be able to copy and paste components into your own folder and use to customize. Yeah. That's the one thing I give Tailwind is that like if you ever need to customize something, you have complete flexibility to customize whatever you want. When you start using main time, I feel like you might run into issues where it's like, oh, I can't customize this unless I go and like fork their repo. Yeah, productive, that's the word. You know, sometimes your brain just doesn't, well, my brain just doesn't think of the words I need. Glad to finally make it to a live stream. Yeah, well, you made it to the tail end of the live stream, unless you've been here for a while. So I'm about to wrap this stream up. But I'm glad you joined. I deploy my T3 project on Vercel, and my next auth keeps timing out on the Vercel functions. Deployed same code amplifier works fine. Well, I think the hobby plan of Vercel gives you like a 10-second timeout, but that should be way more than enough to do your next auth stuff. So I would kind of look into why your next auth is timing out. Like what OAuth provider are you connecting with that's causing a 10-second timeout? Because that's quite a lot. It should, I mean, your next auth should be doing like a single database lookup, maybe an API call to their OAuth provider, and that's it. So I would think a second or two max. Or maybe it's a cold start that's causing it to take so long. Maybe you're doing a lot of stuff in your next app, like loading a bunch of libraries and packages that causes your cold start to be long. Amplify, I think, has like a 30-second timeout by default. It might have longer timeout. I don't know. So that's probably why you're seeing that. Or you could update your upgrade your Vercel plan, pay $20 a month, and get I think 60-second timeouts if you want. I've never been to Pakistan. Yeah, you came in a little late. I'm about to end the stream, but honestly, you can rewind, and half the time is me just like reading docs because I got stuck on a bug. But I didn't really code too much, unfortunately. People like Chakra. See, I think Chakra UI is good. It lets you customize the components really easily. Yeah, I keep hearing good things about Chakra UI. Please answer my last question. What was your last question? Oh, I tried following along with all these tutorials. Any suggestions on reading docs, Googling while coding on my own projects? I personally like try to utilize ChatGPT a lot. I find it really useful for like trying to learn stuff. Yeah, and just directly going to the docs. I would just try to learn the things in the docs that are like directly related to what you're trying to build. And then also like try to build something for yourself without going through tutorials. It's okay to go through a couple tutorials and like have them hold your hand. But at some point you got to take those training wheels off and you got to try to ride the bike yourself, right? You got to figure this out by yourself. I've spent 8 hours before, probably even more, debugging a single issue before. Right? That's a common thing in coding. So like if you find yourself sitting there for days trying to fix a single bug, like I've done that before. I've literally spent a whole week before at work trying to figure out why something was working, and it ended up being a one-line change I had to do to basically pass some settings incorrectly. So it's like coding sucks sometimes. Let's see. All the TRPC procedures work faster in Amplify than in Vercel 2. Not sure why. Yeah, I don't know. Amplify may just give you a much higher lambda memory and CPU setting. I don't know what Vercel does under the hood, but when I've used Amplify, I've never had any issues with it. Other than that video where I was bashing it with the caching, like, let's be honest, that was kind of just like a clickbait drama queen video. But I think Amplify is still a pretty good service. I haven't had any like major issues with it. It seems like it works pretty well. I'm just kind of worried about the charge for some of these endpoints that were taken. We get a source code. Yeah, the source code is, what is it called? It's called like a course platform. There's the source code for that. Hey, thanks, Brian. Learned a lot from you. You're super underrated. Thank you so much for your kind words and for watching. I'm glad my content has helped you out and have taught you something once in a while. Do you ever plan on trying to use Cloudflare servers like the D1 pages or workers? Yeah, if I get time, I'll try it. Like, there's just so many services out there. I just don't have time to like really invest trying them all. And like when I do have time, it's like I give it a 30-second try. And like that's what I base my opinions on. Just like I don't have all day to just sit around trying services, although I would like to. Like people keep asking me to try to use Supabase and like the database that's in Supabase. Like I rather just try to build something. Try to build like a real SaaS product and focus on that. Yeah, I try to stream every Sunday around the same time. So like I could do better at like making events, like planned events. I'm lazy. And I don't like to commit the stuff because some days I don't want to like say that I'm going to start at streaming at 9 and then I start at like 10:30. I just don't like committing to like a stream time. So it's kind of spur of the moment, but it's Sundays around like the morning Eastern, like 9 or 10 a.m. Eastern. What time is it? 12 o'clock. I'm going to wrap this stream up. I got to drop. Probably going to go somewhere later, but hope you guys enjoyed watching me try to debug some stuff live, and hopefully I've answered some of your questions. Like always, I have a Discord channel that's in the description of my YouTube profile and also all my videos, a lot of my videos. You can go and join my Discord if you want to talk to some other developers or just try to grow a community of other people trying to help other people how to learn. Other than that, I don't know. What else do I need what else should I preach to? Not preach. What else should I market to you all? When do you think we should stop watching videos and start reading documentation? Videos take time. I don't know. I think when you can still watch videos. Like it's okay to watch one video. Like sometimes when I was trying to learn Go, I found like an 8-hour Go video and I watched it. I was like in like 2 times speed, just to kind of get familiar with the syntax and like what he's doing. But then after that, I just decided to start coding. Right, just go to the code editor and start typing stuff up. I think the videos are good just to kind of give you like get your feet wet, but at the same time, you got to start just like messing around, playing with stuff, building stuff. Yeah, I think they'll probably fix it. I don't know when they're going to fix it, or just give you the option to like configure the caching to not use cookies. But yeah, I had a couple people like from their DevRels reach out to me like trying to do some damage control. And I feel bad because like I really don't want to bash Amplify hosting. Like I think Amplify hosting actually works pretty well with Next. You literally put into your repo and you have an entire Next app that has a higher timeout than Vercel that just works. So I think it's pretty good, to be honest. I'm also in the game of making videos where people click on them, right? So sometimes you got to do a little clickbait and just kind of give my opinions on stuff. Anyway, yeah, have a good day. Happy coding. Thanks for watching. I'm going to drop. Later, everyone.